This is the TVS Apache RTX 300. It's a new adventure motorcycle from TVS with a new engine. It's available in 3 variants: base, top and BTO. This is the BTO, which is built to order, which is actually priced at rupees 2.74 lakhs on road Mumbai. Aggressive pricing. The base variant is priced at around rupees 2.35 lakhs on road Mumbai. So again, excellent pricing there by TVS. The bike actually looks quite big. Yeah, it's huge. It's an adventure motorcycle which seems to have taken inspiration from other adventure motorcycles, which I'll come to in a bit. Anyways, you obviously get the beak here because that is a must for an adventure motorcycle. All LED lamps, yeah, headlights are complete LEDs, indicators are also complete LEDs. The TVS logo right here. In fact, it even says TVS LED on the inside. Meanwhile, it has this welcome light feature wherein the DRLs turn on, and you can obviously have a follow me home DRL as well. I don't know what's the use of that, but still it has that. This windscreen is not adjustable. You get hand guards here, and the fit finish of this motorcycle is actually quite excellent. The design is really nice. I definitely like the color scheme as well. The ground clearance is 200 mm. The seat height is a bit on the higher side, 835 mm. I like it because I'm tall, but short riders will definitely not feel comfortable on this motorcycle. And it gets 41 mm upside down forks, which have 180 mm of travel, both at the front as well as the rear. What does LSC mean? It's lean segment assist and slipper clutch, which is basically the name for the slipper clutch. And TVS has obviously complicated this whole thing here by naming it like whatever it has. Meanwhile, it gets 320 mm disc at the front. At the rear, it gets a 240 mm disc. These are pedal discs, dual channel ABS, switchable. You can obviously turn it off at the rear to go sliding as well. The front tire size 110, 80, 80, 19. Yeah, these are 19 inches actually. And I like the design of the alloy wheels. There's a reflector here. You get a crash guard as well. And overall fit finish, quite impressive actually. You get this steel engine guard here. This is the new engine. It says TVS Racing here. Rally spec. This is a trellis frame which has a different subframe here. And if you notice one thing, the monoshock is finished in yellow, which is quite nice. It gets a dual port exhaust. Yes, this is a dual port exhaust. And the rear tire size happens to be a 150/70/17. And you obviously get the tire hugger here. The rear design will definitely remind you of the Triumph Tiger 900. So a bit of an inspiration coming from there. I love the indicators, but these are quite prone to breaking quite easily. You get this mount for the top box. Split seat setup, slightly raised for the pillion, says RTX here. I like the design of the seat also with this beautiful red stitching, which is quite nice. In fact, notice how RTX is written here on the alloys. That's kind of cool, but I don't know what is this vent about, because the engine is here. It doesn't need to breathe from here, but I think that's for aero treatment. Apache RTX badging there. Adjustable levers. Yes, both the levers are adjustable. Says E20 here. This tank looks big enough, but it's just 12.5 liters. Yeah, Chintu Mintu tank in this motorcycle, because adventure motorcycles need to have a bigger tank. The handlebar is actually quite wide to get in. Now I have to really like climb in. Firstly, let me show you the horn here. And again, quite good quality on this motorcycle. TVS is doing a fantastic job in terms of quality. And these tires also seem quite nice. To open the seat, you have a keyhole here. And then obviously you can store your documents right here. They've given this plastic plate so that your foot doesn't really hit here. Okay, it gets this brass coated chain, which is there in the BTO model. Straight away, let's climb this motorcycle, which is quite the climb. And I'm going to turn it on. It says TVS there. Obviously, it has the welcome. Yeah, this welcome animation. But it's flickering a bit. It says side stand down. Now, lot of buttons here, not many buttons here. This is to turn on the motorcycle. One touch start right there, and lot of buttons here. So this is obviously for the headlight control, something which TVS does really well. And adjustable lever here for the clutch as well. You get a USB-C as well as a USB-A charging socket. So that's a good thing. And this stays up right. That doesn't keep coming down. The horn is decent. Indicators and all, everything feels premium. These 4 switches are very important so that you can browse through that screen. It says TVS here. The handlebar is actually quite wide, and the mirrors, they also seem quite usable here. Okay, that's the Golf GTI. Anyways, let's come to this particular screen, which has a lot of information, and it's easy to browse because there are multiple ride modes. There are 4 ride modes, and depending on the ride mode, now it actually changes. Yeah, it changes the theme of the cluster, which is quite nice. Then you can change the trip details. There are 3 trip meters here. You can change the lamp control. You can decide what you want the headlamp control to be, whether you want automatic headlight, take me home headlamps, which can be programmed as well. and the welcome lamps, which I was already telling you about. Then you can turn on the traction control, quick shifter, and there's a tire pressure monitor as well, which is also quite nice. And then you can connect your phone, you can connect your GoPro as well. I don't know why things are so complex here. It's not really complex, but so many things in this motorcycle is absolutely crazy. And then you can decide like the performance data you want to record here and display on the home screen. You can save your documents as well. So this is all the things this motorcycle has: traction control, cruise control, quick shifter, dynamic lamp control, tire pressure monitoring system, and GoPro controls. So this is actually the switch for the cruise control. But I like the fact that it's so easy to browse this, and then you can obviously have custom widgets, and then you can change the theme as well. Right now it's the light theme, I can make it dark theme. Obviously I just put on auto at the moment, and then everything is actually quite easy to use using these switches here. So here it says rear ABS off because I'm in rally mode here, and that is the tachometer. Here it's telling the tire pressure, top speed. I can change this to whatever I want, 0 to 60 timer, what's the range, engine temperature, fuel levels, says side stand is down, indicator, telltale lights, and all traction control light and all those things. This particular variant, being the build to order, also has the BT displacement happening there, build to whatever, because obviously you need to know the variant name. Otherwise you can just look at the forks, because these are adjustable. Yes, you can adjust the front forks, and very easy to do that as well. But does it make a difference in terms of the riding experience? Let's start riding right away. All right, let's turn on the motorcycle. One touch and there it turns on, so smooth. This is a 5-inch TFT screen, which is quite nice. It says wear your gear. I have worn all my gear, thumbs up to that. And straight away, let me turn on the hazards. Into first gear, we are in rally mode, and off we go. Actually the bike looks big, but trust me on this, it doesn't feel that big from the saddle, because it's easy to ride, which is such a good thing. And even on this rough road, ride is actually very impressive. Yeah, in spite of upside down forks, the ride is quite smooth, which again is very, very impressive. The handlebar is quite light, which is nice. It has got a bi-directional quick shifter as well, and oh my god, it has good punch. These big bumps don't phase this motorcycle at all. It just glides through, and I'm going to hit a hit a tree branch or something of that sort. The clutch is light, the gearbox is also smooth shifting, so quite positive initial impressions, I must say. And straight away, let me rev the nuts out. Red lines at 10,500 RPM. Yeah, it has this thing also telling me that I need to shift up, but there are a lot of vibrations. Oh my god, I can feel a lot of vibrations here. Yeah, I can feel the vibrations here. I can feel it on the seat as well. Some on the foot pegs. Pegs are slightly rear set. Not very rear set, but slightly rear set. So, I mean, that's okay. But the tank is so big, not in terms of capacity, but in terms of size. So you can really cling onto it nicely. Engine is very tractable. Very, very tractable. However, it's not refined at all. It's loud, and it's obviously quite vibraty. Loud is good, vibration is not so much, and that's the problem with the single cylinder engine. I don't know what is stopping Indian brands like TVS, Bajaj, Hero and all from making a motorcycle with dual cylinders. Hero had obviously showcased it at the Auto Expo after they broke up with Hero, just to show with Honda, sorry. How can Hero break up with Hero? Hero broke up with Honda, and they showcased that, you know, look, we have made a motorcycle with twin cylinders, but that never came out. It was never launched in the first place. And tractability is so impressive now that you can ride in higher gears any given moment. So here I'm already in 6th at 50 kilometers per hour. No issue at all. It just goes, but then more vibrations can be felt because it's not in the easy part of its rev range. So yeah, I can feel the vibrations. Mirrors are decent actually. Round mirrors would be more nice, like not round, ovalish would be. This has a different shape altogether, and in spite of the fact that it has a windscreen here, I can feel a lot of wind blast. Maybe for my height, probably they should have given a higher windscreen, or at least an adjustable windscreen would be really very nice here. Throttle response is very nice, very good. So this is actually a new engine. It's a 299.1cc motor, which replaces the 312cc reverse inclined BMW motor. This one focus is completely on the mid-range, because in the mid-range it feels very good, very punchy indeed. Low end is also nice, top end is decent, not the best, but you know, typical naturally aspirated engines character of more you rev it, the more it rewards you. The brakes are also quite nice. Yeah, super nice, awesome brakes. Time to launch it, and here we are into first gear, revving the motor, and off we go. 6,000 RPM. Yeah, bi-directional quick shifter works fantastically well here. Now I think I need to change the riding mode. So here we are. What does it say? Oh, it lets me change the riding mode, thankfully. So I'll just come into, not rain, I'll come into urban. I have to admit, with the gloves on, it's a bit difficult to operate these buttons, but then that's something you get used to. So headline figures, 36 horsepower, I think, at 9,000 rpm. Meanwhile, the torque output is quite impressive at 28.5 newton meters, because this motorcycle is very tractable, supremely tractable. Ride is good. In fact, handling is also very nice. The only thing is tachometer is chin to mintu. I say the handling is good because the motorcycle is very easy to maneuver. Even through such gaps, you can just take it easily and quite comfortably. And there we go, time to launch it again. We are in first gear, and I can feel a lot of vibration, and off we go. It's not a fast revving motor, it revs quite slowly. Yeah, the motor is just like easy going in terms of the way it revs. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes 7.5 seconds. Top high speed alert warning, you can set that when you want the warning to come. And top speed happens to be 145 kilometers per hour, which isn't much, but then given the characteristic of this motorcycle, which is going to be an apt motorcycle for going the long haul and for touring, I admit this is quite comfortable, especially for tall riders like me. But lot of vibrations. Yeah, come on, we need a dual cylinder engine. I know for the price, obviously we can't get a twin cylinder engine, but obviously they have nailed the pricing here. This is a motorcycle which actually makes me believe that KTM is overcharging for the Adventure 250. Yes, that's true. And obviously the other rival is the Royal Enfield Scram 440, which is also priced quite similarly to this particular motorcycle. Wind blast in plenty. Throttle response is crisp. You know what, the vibrations are there, but they are lesser when compared to the older engine. So they have definitely worked on this engine in terms of improving the refinement, and I think they have done a good job here in terms of making it more refined. Fuel efficiency, expect around 30 to 35 kilometers per liter, which is decent. It's not very great, but then considering this motorcycle's overall characteristic, it's fine. In fact, I don't know how they've kept the weight in check. 180 kgs is not a lot of weight. It's decently heavy is what I would say. Let me downshift. Yeah, the slipper clutch works fantastically well. Oh yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. Overall first impressions, very positive. Fantastic bike from TVS. I never expected them to make such a good motorcycle, but they have really outdone themselves by making something which is so smooth, refined in the lower end of the rev range and not in the top end, because that's where it struggles. The horn is good. Let's come into neutral. Let's do the sound test. Rev still 10,000 rpm in neutral. Yeah, engine feels gruff. Yeah, once you get past 7,000 rpm, feels very, very, very gruff. Easy to ride this bike somehow, and that's something I really, really appreciate about TVS. That at one point I used to be like, what are you doing, TVS? You're just sleeping. But then they woke up and they gave us so many different motorcycles, because at one point they were just about Apaches 180 and the 160. Then they decided, okay, bahut ho gaya, chalo, let me bring another Apache. So then they got a 200, and then after BMW came into the picture, TVS has been onwards and upwards completely. Over big bumps, no problem at all. Suspension is really very compliant, and obviously this is not a motorcycle you would like to corner hard and all, so those expectations shouldn't be there at all. But in terms of day-to-day riding, it's good. It's a motorcycle for touring for sure. A bigger fuel tank would be so damn freaking awesome. That would have really helped. Throttle response is actually nice. Yeah, it gets going fast enough. But the suspension travel, which is 180 mm, both at the front and rear, seems to be adequate enough, I feel. But then I have not really encountered big fat bumps, which is not difficult to find, because anywhere you go you will definitely find a big fat bump. I just wish they had a bigger tachometer, and I didn't understand the whole concept of having it marked at 5,000 rpm here and then marked in a different way. So it's kind of different the way they have done the tachometer here. Let's go over the speed breaker with some enthusiasm. Wow, yeah, oh my god, that was comfortable. I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to give me a jolt. No, it does not. It's just the engine now which gives you so many vibrations now, especially in the top end of the rev range. Past 7,000 rpm, the vibrations kick in, and they kick in so many places now. You will be worrying and wondering what's happening, because it happens on the handlebar, it happens on the foot pegs, it happens somewhere around your crotch area, because it happens on the tank as well. Very vibrating motor, which is a problem with singles, obviously. The thing is that The Adventure 250 makes no sense. I absolutely don't think it makes any sense to buy an Adventure 250. You might as well pay slightly more and get the Adventure 390, because that is so much more better, so much more powerful as well, and obviously has all the electronic gizmos. Although this motorcycle also has an overload of electronic gizmos, most of which you probably wouldn't need or ever want to also use. Because tell me something, why do I need traction control in a motorcycle producing just 36 horsepower? Not needed at all. By the way, this screen works similar to the screen on Royal Enfield's motorcycles, which has a tripper navigation, because here you can actually do screen mirroring to see navigation via Google Maps. But there's a problem, and that problem is that you need to keep your phone on with Google Maps, then only it works. So this issue is from Google, not from TVS. But still, how can I keep my phone on all the time? Yeah, that makes no sense. It will drip all the battery. That's the reason TVS is like, here we have USB-A, USB-C charging socket. Motorcycles are getting so tech loaded. I remember when I bought my motorcycle long ago, not the 390 Duke, but when I was in college, I had purchased a Hero Honda Charisma. No gizmo at all, absolutely none. The only thing that motorcycle had, okay, I have to close throttle to change the ride mode, was electric start. With the remote I used to start the motorcycle. Why? Because I used to stay in Pune and cops used to torture me or torture riders by just going and removing the key. So I never used to start it with the key, used to start it with the remote. And then if you stall, then you are screwed completely. Now it's the time to see what it does in each individual gear. It revs so fast now to 10,000 rpm. Although the red line is marked at 9,000 rpm, it goes to 10,500 rpm. So here in first it does 54. Oh, okay, little jerky. In second it does 75. In third it does 96 kilometers per hour. That drops half a second from the 0 to 100 kilometer per hour acceleration time of this motorcycle. And in fourth it does 120 kilometers per hour. More power definitely needed, because at the end of the day, if you're selling a big motorcycle, you need more power. I think TVS is like, you know, there's no point getting a motorcycle above 350cc, because the Indian taxation is so damn freaking stupid. Taxing motorcycles above 350cc makes no sense at all, putting it in a higher bracket. We are a global motorcycle country which makes motorcycles and sells it abroad. We're doing a fantastic job in that regard. Bajaj, Hero, TVS, all of us. But the problem is that the Indian government wants to restrict us, which is not so good, because come on, bikes over 350cc are the ones which people buy abroad. So how will that improve in our own conditions or in our own market when our government is only like, nahi beta, 350cc ke upar you have to pay luxury tax? Makes no sense whatsoever. So guys, this is my video of the TVS Apache RTX. I really like this motorcycle. I just wish it has less vibrations, because the vibes really kill the experience here. Bye bye.